Welcome back to the 3x5 Life podcast. If you are new to this podcast, this is a space that usually my husband and I just kind of sit down, riff about any topic that comes to mind, whether it be well-being, wellness, productivity, self-care, time management. And usually he's with me, but today I am flying solo. And if you have been following along with our journey, you know that usually every season I try to take a pause and tap into or talk about where we are with our Ayurvedic schedule, where we are in the shift of seasons. And so we just celebrated the summer solstice last week on June 21st. And if you are feeling some things come up for you as this season shifts, this is totally normal. When we go into summertime, we are in the elements of fire and air, and we are in the dosha of Pitta, which is our fire energy, which is why it's so hot and humid and sticky. A lot of times we could have some health things like dehydration, which is obviously typical of that excess sweating and release. And so that hydration piece is really important. You could be experiencing stomach and digestive issues, diarrhea, lots of fatigue, irritability. Because when we're hot, like just think about what comes up for you when you're kind of like hot and sticky and stuck, right? So all of those feelings are totally normal. Dizziness, you might notice that you feel like your equilibrium might be a little bit off. Sometimes even just like nausea, or you're not like your appetite, you don't have a lot of a big appetite. So these are all things that happen to us seasonally when we enter the Pitta dosha. And so I want to talk today about what are some tips to kind of keep you cool and to keep you as healthy and feeling as good as you possibly can during the summer season. So the first thing I want to talk about is food and nourishment. So if you are craving foods that are high in water content, like melon and watermelon and grapes and berries, even like dates and plums and green, like leafy greens and green vegetables, that is strategic because your body is craving foods that have a higher water content. Listen to those cravings, because when we eat those cravings, it creates a cooling effect. And so if the goal is to reduce that hot, fiery pitta, then when we eat and pacify that with cooler foods, you immediately will have some of those health things go away. The irritability, the fatigue, the kind of like stickiness. So that's one way to really kind of combat that summer slump when it comes to our health. Number two, I would say on the flip side of that, to avoid heat producing foods. You're going to try to even foods that have like a thicker consistency to it, like a milky and dairy, like things like sour cream. Even though you think of sour cream as being cooling because it's cold, the actual food itself, because of the thickness of it, can cause some mucus in our systems, which also can lead to that like heating up effect. So something like you're going to avoid garlic or chili or super spicy foods, things like salted cheese. You want to avoid some things that are overly salted because we're already dehydrated. And so when it has those very strong seasonings to it, it actually can have a negative effect on how it nourishes our bodies. The other piece of that with the nourishment and the eating is trying to eat your food closest to noon. So when you look at the Ayurvedic clock, by midday, it's when the sun is the highest in the sky, which means that our digestive fire is firing at its best. So when we can eat our largest meal in the day, it allows time for our bodies to break it down in a way that then puts it where it needs to go as far as its nourishment and its nutrients and what we're trying to absorb, but also allows you to eliminate or remove anything that would be like toxic or not necessarily good for your system. And so if you can eat your largest meal closest to noon, that's another way to pacify some of this pitta energy that's like building up here. If you think about the organ that summer affects the most, it's our skin, which is our largest organ. So think about what happens in the summertime. We get a lot of sunburn. Your skin gets kind of dry and cracky. You might be peeling. You start to see freckles and things come out that maybe don't normally come out when it's not sunny outside. And so to pacify this, think about how you're going to hydrate and moisturize your skin. Coconut oil is a really great one, or any type of like moisturizer. You should be moisturizing morning and night. After you shower specifically. And with your showers, try to avoid taking like hot, steamy showers, and think more about taking cooler lukewarm water so that it's not creating that extra steam, which then also dries out. So moisturizing, and you can use products that maybe have things like rose water in it or cucumber, or it's infused with aloe. Aloe is as a plant, right, derivative, and we use it for sunburn. So if you ever have like a moisturizer or something that you're utilizing on your body that has aloe in it, it can be really helpful to give that calm, cooling effect that we're looking for. I would say Exercising in the morning is super important, and maybe not just in the morning. How about we say when it's cooler outside? So using our common sense and not exercising in the middle of the day when it's really, really hot and humid, because if you think about that from an energy standpoint, that will drain you and make you feel even more tired. So if you can work out before 10 a.m., or after 7 p.m., that seems to be the sweet spot for movement and exercise, especially if it's outdoors. You're going to have more energy. It's when it's cool, the temperatures are cooler, and you will get definitely some more bang for your buck when you're going to do some movement there. If you're not a morning exerciser, that's fine. Maybe kind of recognizing that in the summertime, we do stay up a little bit later, and that's naturally our biorhythms are telling us to, because it's so hot during the day that really is the only time we can enjoy being outside. And so if you're finding that your exercise is after 7 and you can go to bed maybe like a half hour later, then you can kind of combat that idea that you can't exercise at night or in the evenings. This is a perfect time to go for a family walk or a family hike, or, with a partner or a friend. It's great for that connection and community as well. I'm trying to think. Oh, so and one more thing for movement. I was thinking about ways to kind of pacify heat. And this might sound counterproductive, but something that I love to do in the mornings are sun salutations. So sun salutations is a form of yoga. It's just the natural movement of going from pose to pose in sync with your breath. And it does actually create some heat, but because of the way you're utilizing your breath to stir this heat, and then at the end of it, ending in like a child's pose or a shavasana, where then you're cooling your body back down and you're calming your breath. This is a great way to get exercise in the summertime. It's gentle. It's, it does induce heat at first, but then it does on the flip side of that, allows you to kind of cool and calm and collect at the end. And so it leaves you actually feeling really refreshed, but also that you've accomplished like a really nice workout. So wanted to throw out sun salutations because I find that helps a ton. All right, I'm going to rewind because I just went through those. I felt like it was like rapid fire. So if I could summarize those in some bite-sized, chewable action items, I want you to just naturally think about the fact that we are overheated in the summer. So think about Pitta and fire. And then every choice that you make throughout your day, think about ways to pacify that excess fire. Because when we do, we feel so much better. So that is eating cooling foods, limiting super spicy and heat-inducing foods. That is eating your meals closest to noon so that your digestive fire is at its highest and you're able to process and break down your food without creating excess heat. That's the use moisturizer, maybe some coconut oil or something that's infused with rose, cucumber, or aloe. Avoid hot showers and try taking some colder, cooler showers with the water. Also, which I didn't mention before, but something on in the same realm of food is trying to avoid really hot drinks. If you're reaching for hot coffee or hot tea, actually what's best for our digestive system and removal of toxins in this season is lukewarm. Iced beverages, you think that would make sense because it's like really, really cold. And I think we crave sometimes those iced beverages. But if you drink iced beverages close to or with meals, it can sometimes mess with the pH in your digestive system. It can slow down some digestive fire. So with meals or right around eating time, I would say try for lukewarm, but it's totally okay if you want to have an iced coffee or something in the morning that just kind of gets you going. But if you can, avoid those hot drinks as well. And then the last piece was just like that movement in the morning before 10 or after 7. And all of these things, you don't have to do all of them. That's the beauty of Ayurveda, is trying to figure out, or any type of self-care or health goal, right? I can't do a one size fits all for every person I speak to, but it's like throwing spaghetti at the wall. One of these tips that you try or utilize might help with that irritability, that dehydration, that dizziness, that fatigue that sometimes overwhelms us in the summertime. And if one works, then you have a new tool in your toolbox, and then maybe try another one and see what happens. So all of this is just some things that I've found to have worked for me when we transition into this Pitta energy summer months. So I hope this lands somewhere with you, and maybe something that I went over speaks to you and you're just willing to try, right? Everything is information, and maybe you will find something that just helps you feel a little bit better. And that's our goal. So I hope you have an awesome week. Remember, think cool thoughts, really cool thoughts, and you will feel so much better. But we will see you soon. Take care. We are all